It is Friday. Hope everyone's having a great day. So far, I can't complain. A very rainy, muggy day, so I had to turn the fluorescent lights on because it's so dark in here otherwise. I'm not a huge fan of these lights. They're too bright in my opinion, but they come in handy sometimes. Anyway, so to catch up on this week, as you could tell by some of the vlogs, I did not film Saturday. I have decided that some days will be boring, and I'm tired of filming the boring vlogs, and I'm sure you guys are getting annoyed by the same old, so I decided I'm only going to be vlogging either once or twice a week, Mondays and usually Fridays. Unless something comes up that's actually exciting, I don't know. I will probably film then, but otherwise I don't. It's only be once or twice as far as vlogging. I will, however, make more of an effort to make other videos so then you guys can have something more interesting, more inviting. I don't know. I'm gonna try my best as far as that is concerned. The lens is dirty. I helped a little bit. Still see smears because the light is so bright I can actually see a lot of things that I don't usually see. But anyway, this week was an off and on week. It was kind of bad and then kind of okay. Let's see. Sunday. Let's regroup with that. Sunday was Super Bowl Sunday. We had so the morning I was in the nursery. Didn't have any kids because the kids were sick, so I stayed up there because I listened, because they have a monitor on, so I did listen to Sunday school class and regular service. So it wasn't like I was totally, and then they came up with communion, so it wasn't like I wasn't participating or lacking, so I was listening and stuff. And then that evening we had a kind of like a Soup and Carols type vibe, except for it was Super Bowl. But anyway, we had a service, a little bit of a service. It started at 5, so it wasn't like we got home late. We got home at like 7:30ish. We had like a couple specials. We had a service. We had some people speaking, some facts, kind of boring. I had some door prizes. I didn't participate because I don't need anything more. There was a couple devotional type stuff and candles I could have, picked out if they picked my name, but honestly, I don't care. I just don't need anything. I don't care. It's very rare if I win those type of things anyway, so it was like, whatever. We had soup, there was bread, some desserts, so I ate a little bit. Food there, and then we came home at a reasonable time, and I got to go to bed at a reasonable time. Because we had to work the next day. The next day wasn't all that great. It started off fine, and then, not to throw Mom under the bus, but she said, I simply asked her a question, to help her out. Well, she took it the wrong way and kind of just blew up on me and snapped at me, and it triggered my PTSD. Yes, I do have some things that trigger me a lot, so kind of went back to my past, and it kind of, when anyone who manipulates me, that triggers some things, stuff that people, there's just certain trigger words that just kind of trigger me, and it did, and I went back to my past, and then it just kind of went downhill there, and I was just crying. I didn't full blast cry at first. I was kind of trying to hide it, but Mom noticed it after a while, and it was a lot of tension in the car on the way to our client's house. I didn't want to talk about it because I just didn't feel like it, but she kind of figured it out, and she did eventually apologize when we got to the house. We don't usually do this where we hug each other unless it's like an absolutely necessary hug. We're not the type of the people that we're always like, embracing each other. It's not that we don't love each other, it's just that we're not like touchy type people. I guess that's would consider that your love language between family or friends or whoever. It's not like we don't give each other hugs or occasionally, or it's just occasionally. It's just we're not a daily thing. But this was a necessary hug, and she sorely apologized to me. And yeah, so eventually I got over that, but nonetheless I was still feeling guilty about a lot of things. I felt bad, I felt terrible, a lot of things that are happening right now, either with church or here, or basically what I've been saying. I have no direction of where I am supposed to go. It kind of tripled into what I was feeling, so I kind of just talked with her, and yeah, it was just a bit of a hot mess. And so I was pretty much upset a lot throughout that day. I just did not feel myself. Still going through a lot right now. I'm not angry with her anymore, or upset with her, I should say. I don't know if it was really, it was sort of like an anger, but anyway, I just wasn't feeling myself at all. And I've come to the conclusion maybe I am going through depression slightly, not to the degree that I used to be in, because what I used to be in was terrible and I felt horrible about myself. It was like really bad. I'm still functioning, I'm still getting up, still doing things, still busying myself and getting things done, but I'm still not feeling myself. So I need to work on that. Excuse me, my sinuses are acting crazy because it's been, well, it feels like spring weather because of how warm it's been, and then rain, so my sinuses are draining and acting more crazy. Lovely, right? Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, that was Monday. And then we noticed where we were talking in Sam's, because I had gone into Sam's because I had to go to the bathroom, and Mom gave me some money in the card to go in to get some strawberries. Well, I didn't feel any anxiety in there, which was amazing in itself. I felt good about that. I was able to go into the bathroom, try to put on a happy face when I was encountering people. I said hi to a couple that I knew, so I was being polite, and then after I went to the bathroom, got to get to the freezer area where the strawberries are, they were not there, so I was like, great. When I say freezer, I mean refrigerated, the big old refrigerated area, not freezer, it's not a freezer, but it was not there, so I came out empty-handed. I managed to get through the store. I kind of left this cart, not my finest hour, but I left the cart inside. I should have brought it out even though I didn't have anything, because I left it there because I didn't think it was necessary, because I didn't have anything, but I should have still brought it out anyway because I walk crooked and I was not feeling the greatest. And having the cart kind of balances me out with my walking. And I managed to get through the one side, and I had to cross to get the other side and I was just like, I gotta breathe. So I didn't hyperventilate, but I was managing. Sometimes I have to stop and then breathe and focus and then keep going. But I managed to get to the car, and then Mom and I had a conversation and basically just letting all my feelings out. And she feels the same way. She knows what I'm going through because she's going through the same thing. We don't have a clue as to what we're supposed to do in life, and it's frustrating beyond words. So we're just learning to take a deep breath and get through one day at a time. It's basically what we can do. But once we've come to a conclusion, once we establish her and get her to the other side and get diagnosis and what possible medication, whatever she needs to get through, I'm probably gonna have to possibly go through some counseling myself. I'm not sure exactly. I have to decide if I can get through that as well. Possibly do some testing to figure out what is wrong with me, to finalize what's wrong, possibly get some help, get insurance, blah blah blah. Go through all those channels. So once we're done with her, I have to go through all this with me, which costs money, which is what I've been trying to avoid for the longest time, which is why I never went through all those situations, but it's overdue and it needs to be done. So God is faithful. He'll get us through it and hopefully have the money at the time. So we can't keep doing what we're doing now. We have to get through the other side and hopefully figure out what we're going to be doing in our lives, as far as job-wise, as far as ministerial work, as far as everything. So that, by the way, we were at Sam's and we noticed our van acting up. It's been acting up for a while, but either slipping or acting crazy, pedals not working, whatever. We were in park, okay? And you know how you push on the pedal, like the, not the brake, but the one you know to make yourself move, the flat pedal. I don't know the proper word, but anyway, the pedal that makes you go. She was not pushing it, and you know how you can be in the brake and you can push it and then it makes that sound. She didn't have her foot on the pedal and it did that, and I was like, something's not right. And her engine check light came on as well. So we're like, what is going on here? So she decided, since it's been acting up for a while, to call Kia dealership and get an appointment, and we got it in right away the next day. So that was a blessing in disguise. So the next day we got it, we managed to get home safely, managed to get to the dealership next day, Tuesday. Still wasn't feeling my greatest, I was out of it, but we were at the dealership for several hours. Finally we got a diagnosis, the throttle was completely deteriorating. So they had to get a whole new one. It was under warranty and they had the part, which would have cost us over probably like $900 if we didn't have the warranty thing. It was only $50. So thank the good Lord for that. That would have been quite a huge difference there if we didn't have that. So that got fixed, thank the good Lord. But we were there for like 2 or 3 hours, more than it was like 3 hours, 3.5, I don't know, something like that. It was a long time. So we didn't go to work that day, because the next day we were supposed to have like a day off because we didn't have anyone to work on Wednesday. So everything on Tuesday we were rescheduling on Wednesday. So came home, rested a while, getting over myself, managed to get through it. Wednesday wasn't terrible as far as work, getting through the day. It was a sunny day, so I managed to get through that day. We did have some extra work to do on that day, but I managed to get through it. Our vacuum, by the way, I was almost to the end. Okay, it was acting up. I didn't understand what was going on. It sounded weird. It was like the electricity was going through, like the vacuum part was working, but there was no, I kept saying suction. There was no air being pulled through the engine part, like the filter part. I was like, what is going on? It was not working right. And so I was near the end. It was the last house near the end, but it just completely went out. I was like, great. All right, the whole like thing just kaboot, stopped working. So I was like, lovely. So I had to use the client's vacuum cleaner for the last end of it. Managed to get through that. Thank goodness it's not a dirty house. So and it was near the end. That would have been terrible if it started near the beginning. But so we have extra parts at home, so we were able to find a part. Thank goodness we had that extra parts at home. So that vacuum piece was completely useless, but everything else in it was working. It's just that one, the body part, the canister part, just died. That was the first time it ever like truly died on me. So I was like, oh, that's lovely. So yeah, And yesterday wasn't a hard day. Just exhausting because some of the when the one house has really thick carpet, and so I have to put it up, jack it up a bit, but still nonetheless a lot of work on my shoulders, and so I am exhausted from that. And then the day before I was doing baseboards, cleaning that, so I was quite tired, to say the least. My body's exhausted. So I slept like a rock last night. Barely moved, so then I was stiff. And then I was having a hard time getting out of bed. And then also, while I was taking a shower, something's wrong with our shower. The plug thing that you push where, you know, you turn it on, the water comes out for the tub, to fill the tub. Well, you push the plug up for it to go up into the shower. Well, we've been having issues with the plug for a while. The drain obviously gets clogged up. I have to clean that out, and that's an easy problem, but it's been acting issues. It doesn't hold water in the tub, so that's been a long time problem. Now this, where it's just the pressure is not going completely out of the shower, so I had a hard time with the pressure coming out because it was mostly still half coming up to the shower and half still in the bottom part of the spout doing the tub. So I'm like, that's lovely. So yeah, that's how my week has been. Crazy all over the place, emotionally draining. Yeah. And we have stuff this week. So I am also planning on doing my chores. I gotta get going on that. I also have more purging today. I've come to conclusion some things I really want to get rid of. Even though I said I didn't want to, but it's been it's been like 3 weeks now that I've been thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, it's time. And I'm going through some more clothes as well because I'm like, why am I keeping on to this? It's like ridiculous. Purging. So yeah, I'm gonna get myself going because I rambled enough and rambled on enough. So you basically got the gist of my week. Crazy all over the place. So yeah, I need to get myself going. So you'll see me later. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a few more updates I forgot to even mention. One, my upstairs doors have been painted. So that is completely brown. My closet is, sorry, I cannot point. That is completely brown, and then that little, there you go. That little door is painted. Eventually the trim will be done. Also, Ricky finally bought his truck. Oh, see if we can see it outside the window. And she has a name. I can tell you why. Her name is Gracie. Okay. And I'll show you why. I don't know if we can see her. You see her outside there? There we have it. She's right there. It's a Ford 150. It's got pretty much all the bells and whistles to it. But there she is. As you can tell why she's named Gracie, because she's gray. And that's her name. That's what Ricky called her. So he finally made a decision to buy a truck. Oh my gosh, took him long enough. Took him like 11 years. But there we have it. I just wanted to show you that real deal right now. But he bought his truck. We're not gonna buy a van right away. Tracker is getting sold to the person up the road from us. Eventually, we'll be getting rid of the old Kia that Ricky's been driving and sell it in, trade that in for another vehicle, another van, but not right now. That probably won't be until another year or two, so, because we already just got this truck. We don't want to get most of that paid off and then work on getting another one. So there we have it. Just wanted to mention that real quick. Hey guys, I am back. Okay, so my hair, tell you what, it's just all over the place. So to catch up what I've done so far, I vacuumed, I dusted, I done my laundry, I went through all my Polly Pockets, cleaned them all up, and they are boxed to be donated. Or Mom thought about eBay. I'm like, probably won't get much more than 10 bucks out of each set, so. But I have kept those so preserved that majority of the clothes were intact. They never went dry rotted. Some of them tore, so I threw some of them away. And then there was like one play set that was like a dog show that fell apart. But overall, everything is intact, and I had a lot of the pieces. I had to look up a lot of things because I couldn't remember which doll went with which outfits and went with accessory or whatever, or playset. And so I looked all that up, and I pretty much had pretty much everything. There were a few things that are missing or destroyed or whatever, but overall I had pretty much everything, and I was like, yes. So everything's put into baggies, organized in the right direction, and I taped it on the little kit or whatever, so everything is matched up. I cleaned up. I had like a lot of my mugs, like such as this one, took everything out of them and cleaned them. I've pretty much organized a lot of areas. I dusted everywhere. I still got a lot of good ways to go. I still have to figure out what container, what to put. I have a whole container. There's a whole other tote. I used to have the Barbies in it. Then I had the Polly Pockets. Now it's empty, completely empty. So I don't know what to do with that just yet. I might just put some random stuff in it so it's out of the way. But then I'm like, I use some of this stuff. I don't know. I'll figure out as I go what to do with what. And then I eventually have to deal with my desk, which has a bunch of stuff everywhere, and I just need to figure out what I need containers for it. And I've also decided I technically have a container for all my hair stuff, like my hair ribbons and scrunchies and all that stuff, but it's spilling over. I've had that container forever. That container actually originally had gel pens in it, a bunch of those in it, but since I don't, and then I've repurposed it for my hair stuff, but my hair stuff is spilling over. So I'm thinking of getting one of those pull-out drawers so I can organize it wherever I just have certain things in certain, areas, so then it's divided so I know exactly where it goes. Doesn't mean it's not going to get messy eventually, but at least I'll go have something to organize it with, and it'll be on top of my dresser. I am still going through my books and seeing what I want to get rid of, what to keep. Little by little, I've been reading some things and then putting it downstairs to be donated. I guess next week we're donating. So yeah, I think that's kind of the lowdown. We also, our shower is acting crazy. Ricky tried to fix it. Well, it just needs a whole other system. So he has to get a part for that. They're doing the rentals are doing taxes today, so yeah. Little by little, we're getting things done. But guys, it's everybody's favorite time of the vlog, and that is Bible time. I also picked out another devotional book out for you guys. I've had this forever, since 2009. I was a teenager then, and I was also my junior year. But we had to get a high school class. I'd gotten these a lot. Just devotional type stuff, and I've written some of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and I have a bunch of these, and I have little pamphlets and stuff, so I'll be getting into that. I know it's geared around teenagers, but you know what? It might be easier for us to understand if we're starting out doing youth type stuff. It might make sense to you guys. Who knows? Okay, so we are in, let's see, still in Exodus. We're getting close to being done with Exodus. So close. Alright, Exodus chapter 38. Building the altar of burnt offering. Next, Bezalel used acacia wood to construct the square altar of burnt offering. It was 7.5 feet wide, 7.5 feet long, and 4.5 feet high. It
He made horns for each of its four corners so that the horns and altar were all one piece. He overlaid the altar with bronze. Then he made all the altar utensils of bronze: the ash buckets, shovels, basins, meat forks, and fire pans. Next, he made a bronze grating and installed it halfway down the side of the altar. Under the ledge, he cast 4 rings and attached them to the corners of the bronze grating to hold the carrying poles. He made the poles from acacia wood and overlaid them with bronze. He inserted the poles through the rings on the sides of the altar. The altar was hollow and was made from planks. Building the wash basin. Bezaleel made the bronze wash basin and its bronze stand from bronze mirrors donated by the woman who served at the entrance of the tabernacle. Building the courtyard. When Bezaleel made the courtyard, which was enclosed with curtains made of finely woven linen, on the south side the curtains were 100 feet long. They were held by 20 posts set securely in 20 bronze bases. He hung the curtains with silver hooks and rings. He made a similar set of curtains for the north side, 150 feet of curtains held by 20 posts set securely in bronze bases. He hung the curtains with silver hooks and rings. The curtains on the west end of the courtyard were 75 feet long, hung with silver hooks and rings, and supported by 10 posts set on to 10 bases. The east end, the front, was also 75 feet long. The courtyard entrance was on the east end, flanked by 2 curtains. The curtain on the right side was 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. The curtain on the left side was into 22.5 feet long and was supported by 3 posts set into 3 bases. All the curtains used in the courtyard were made of finely woven linen. Each post had a bronze base, and all the hooks and rings were silver. The top of the posts of the courtyard were overlaid with silver, and the rings to hold up the curtains were made of silver. He made the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard of finely woven linen, and he decorated it with beautiful embroidery in blue, purple, and scarlet thread. It was 30 feet long, and its height was 7.5 feet, just like the 4 posts, each set securely. Just like the curtains of the courtyard walls. It was supported by 4 posts, each set securely in its own bronze base. The tops of the posts were overlaid with silver, and the hooks and rings were made out of silver. All the tent pegs used in the tabernacle and courtyard were made of bronze. Inventory of materials. This is an inventory of the materials used in building the tabernacle of the covenant. The Levites compiled the figures as Moses directed, and Ithamar, son of Aaron, the priest, served as recorder. Bezaleel, son of Uriah, grandson of Hur in the tribe of Judah, made everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He was assisted by Oholib, son of, these names, I tell you, Hizkiah, Mech, and of the tribe of Dan, a craftsman expert in engraving, designing, and bordering with blue, purple, and scarlet thread on fine linen cloth. The people brought special offerings of gold totaling 2,193 pounds. That is an intense amount. As measured by the height of the sanctuary shekel. This gold was used throughout the tabernacle. The whole community of Israel gave 7,545 pounds of silver, as measured by the weight of the sanctuary shekel. This silver came from the tax collected from each man registered in the census. The tax is 1 bekah, which is half a shekel, based on the sanctuary shekel. Don't ask me how much that is in real, I guess you could call it English times. Here in the U.S., I'm not sure how much a shekel actually costs and how much a bekah costs. You might have to look that up yourself. If you're curious. The tax was collected from 603,550 men who had reached their 20th birthday. The 100 bases for the frames of the sanctuary walls and for the posts supported the inner curtain required 7,500 pounds of silver, about 75 pounds for each base. Whew. The remaining 45 pounds of silver was used to make the hooks and rings that overlaid the tops of the posts. Can you imagine how heavy everything must have been? Oh gosh. And they didn't have like the type of equipment that we have nowadays where we have all the driving material, like trucks and vehicles and stuff that, you know, has a motor. They didn't have all that. They had wagons and, I mean, they had cranes, but not the type of crane that it wasn't mechanical. It was more by rope. So a lot of things were man-powered. Had to have very strong people out there getting it. Whew. Can't imagine. That would be exhausting. The people also brought as special offerings 5,310 pounds of bronze, which was used for casting the bases for the posts at the entrance to the tabernacle, and for the bronze altar with its bronze grating and all the altar utensils. Bronze was also used to make the bases for the posts that supported the curtains along the courtyard, the bases for the curtain at the entrance of the courtyard, and all the tent pegs for a tabernacle in the courtyard. That is a lot. Yes, thank you, Lord, for your living, breathing word. And that was chapter 38. We'll get into 39 next week. All right, let's get into this, shall we? Okay, this is titled Prepared to Go, and we're supposed to read Ezra. Okay, I forgot we have to read the Bible too. Ezra, which is, shoot, I don't remember where Ezra is. I don't really read Ezra very often. Can't remember if it's in the new or old. It's terrible. Where's the book of contents? There we go. Okay, that's kind of thought it was in the old, but wasn't quite sure. It's after the Chronicles. Actually, I'll be getting in my personal reading there. Alright, Ezra chapter 1, verses 1 through 6. This is talking about Cyrus allows the exiles to return. In the first year, King Cyrus of Persia, the Lord fulfilled the prophecy he had given through Jeremiah. He stirred the heart of Cyrus to put his proclamation in writing and to send it throughout his kingdom. This is what King Cyrus of Persia says. The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth. He has appointed me to build him a temple at Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Any of you who are his people may go to Jerusalem and Judea to rebuild this temple of the Lord, the God of Israel, who lives in Jerusalem. And may your God be with you. Wherever this Jewish remnant is found, let their neighbors contribute toward their expenses by giving them silver and gold, supplies for their journey and livestock, as well as voluntary offering for the temple of God in Jerusalem. Then God stirred the hearts of the priests and Levites and the leaders of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin to go to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple of the Lord. And all their neighbors assisted by giving them articles of silver and gold, supplies for the journey, and livestock. They gave them many valuable gifts in addition to all the voluntary offerings. Okay. The Bank of China Tower, built in 1989, is 1,209 feet tall. The bank's $1 billion price tag makes it the most expensive building completed to date. To build a bank of your own, working 40 hours a week at your $8 per hour summer job, obviously things have changed and money might increase from 8 to 12 or whatever now. However money you get from your summer job. But anyway, back in, my younger years, that's how much you probably got, maybe even more. I don't know. It would take a little more than 60,000 years to save up the money. Oh gosh. Then the family heads of Judea and Benjamin, and the priests and Levites, everyone whose heart God had moved, prepared to go up and build the house of the Lord at Jerusalem. All their neighbors assisted them with articles of silver and gold, with goods and livestock, and with valuable gifts in addition to all the free will offering. Excuse me. To the Israelites, rebuilding the Lord's temple had to seem as impossible as building the Bank of China Tower would be to you. However, when God gives his people a vision, he also provides the resources. The Israelites could never have rebuilt the temple if they had depended on themselves. God stirred the hearts of the Israelites' neighbors to help them accomplish their mission. What has God called you to do that you haven't started because it seemed too difficult? Well, for the longest time, I didn't start my YouTube channel or doing things up for the Lord because I thought, 1, I wasn't good enough to do it. 2, no one would listen. 3, it's just too lazy. 4, had no clue what to do. And so on and so on. So, what resources are available to you today to start toward your goal for your life? Well, money could be a good thing. I had money saved up for as far as resources. Prayer. Well, prayer is a good one. And also just the Word of God. The Word of God is good to have as far as doing missionary type work. So that is my little devotion of today. And there's some questions you guys can think of for yourself. I'm going to repeat them for you guys. What has God called you to do that you haven't started because it seems too difficult? Okay. And what resources are available to you today to start towards your goal for your life? Alright. So that is our devotion today. So that is pretty much it for today's vlog. Obviously I'm not going to be vlogging too much. As I said, I was going to condense it to one day or twice a week. So, I don't know what I'm else going to get into really today, because I feel like it's going to probably be redundant. So I'm just going to give myself, doing some other things and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. As always, keep on smiling, stay positive. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.